Hello everyone, welcome back to Newcastle Fans TV for today only in association with the Magpie Group. In the middle there we have Sean Wade of the Magpie Group, and we've also got a very special guest, quite simply the greatest man ever to pull on the black and white of Newcastle United, Mr Alan Shearer. Welcome to Newcastle Fans TV.
Thanks for having me, guys. Great to be on. Thank you.
So we've got you here, Alan, to talk about this fantastic prize giveaway. But first of all, what gave you the idea to start the Alan Shearer Foundation?
Well, back in 2006, as you know, I had my testimonial, and I was never ever going to keep a penny of the proceeds to the game. I mean, the fans very kindly paid their money, and there was no way I could take that. So I decided to give it all away to charity. I mean, that was the easy part, deciding to do that. The hard part was, well, because there is no such thing as a bad charity. Which charities can I give it to? And I was the idea of the Alan Shearer Centre, Alan Shearer Foundation, was sort of put to me. There was an old derelict building up in West Denton, there just off the A69, that needed upgrade, and then it was put to me. Wow, and it was a great idea, but it needed a lot of money spent on it. And I was determined, once I made that decision, that was going to be the main beneficiary. That I wasn't just going to give them money and let them get on with it. I wanted to take an active part in it, because I do enjoy seeing it going up and everything that it was. And everything that was promised to me, and it was just from that day, 2006. It's got bigger, it's got better, and it's an amazing place. I mean, the joy that it gives so many people with complex disabilities and their families, and people there that are actually living there in the residential side of it. I mean, whether it's the hydrotherapy pool, whether it's the sensory rooms, whether it's the music rooms, whether it's the cafe, whatever it may be, we give it away for free. But for us to give it away for free, we have to raise around about £250,000 a year to do that. Now, normally we have a ball and we have a golf day, etc. That helps towards that. I mean, the last 7 or 8 years we've had a ball at the Hilton, which has included Ed Sheeran's come and played, Gary Barlow has, Ronan Keating, Ollie Murs, Jess Glynn, Michael McIntyre, Mumford and Sons, Beverly Knight. We've had some unbelievable acts come and perform for us, and they've done it all for free, which is how we've been able to raise the money and sell tables for that, and obviously have an auction. There's some very special prizes. But like all charities, the last 12 months, ours is no different. We've not been able to raise anything. So I sort of said, what can I do to try and help that? Now, I've got the memorabilia, I've got the boots and the tops and the balls and what have you, and I just thought, well, it's got to be something pretty special if it's going to raise the amount of funds that we need. So I asked my kids if they would mind if I could give away my ball, the boots and the armband and the top that I scored against Man City, my 250th Premier League goal, and they very kindly said yes, no problem. But we want the 260th, so I've still got that and a few more bits. But I didn't have a clue what it was going to raise. I mean, I didn't know whether it was going to raise $5,000, 10 grand, 20, 50. Whatever. I didn't know how much to charge, because 10 quid a ticket is a lot of money, particularly after Christmas. So for all those reasons, I didn't know what the reaction would be. But I mean, it's just been phenomenal. I mean, obviously, I think the majority are Newcastle fans, but even, I mean, the messages that I've had from Manchester, Liverpool, London, I mean, all over the world, it's just been unbelievable. And the last time I looked, I think it was around about 104 grand, which is just mind-blowing. So, and it's got another 10 days left as well. So that's where the idea came from, and I'm absolutely delighted with the response, as you can imagine.
How many tickets have you bought so far, Sean?
I've bought 5. So
have you really? Thank you. Thanks very much.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get a few more there before the 10 days, for sure. There's nothing more I would like to see than actually how lovely would it be if this was able to raise 250,000 at least, and then at least it covers the running cost for the foundation. which will cover them for this period that we've been in lockdown and in COVID, you know. So, and I think it's a worthy prize for anyone, and it's a worthy cause for anyone to invest in. So I just think we're almost halfway there, and we'll keep on pushing the best we can.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's
really
life changing.
I really appreciate everything that everyone's doing for it. As I said, I think a tenner is a lot of money, and as I said, particularly after Christmas and with the pandemic that's happening as we sit here, so it can't be easy for people to shell out 10, 20, 30, 50 as you have, and as you see, you're going to buy a few more. So it is a special giveaway from me, and I was determined that it had to be, because to attract the interest.
Absolutely. I mean, for more information and to get your tickets, head on over to alanshearerfoundation.org.uk, and also Alan's Twitter page. There's a pinned tweet on there for the link. Was it the main reason for this massive giveaway? Obviously, it's a fantastic prize, but no golf day this year. I mean, how much are you missing getting out on the golf course with all these lockdowns?
Man, I can't tell you how much I'm missing golf. It's just as you probably know, I love my golf. I try to get out once or twice a week if work allows that. But it's just proven impossible. We can't do it. The sooner golf gets back, the better for me and for my state of mind. To just I love walking around the golf course for 4 or 5 hours and no phone on, etc. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm hearing you, especially when I've got 2 young kids at home. The wife won't watch this, I'm sure, but anything for a bit of peace.
I think the last time I was on a golf course, I spent 4.5 hours just trying to find my ball.
I know what you're talking about as well. I've been there.
Absolutely, haven't we all? But yeah, over 100,000 raised already. It's absolutely crazy. Just for those who don't know and who haven't entered yet, just exactly what is the prize? Because it's the shirt and the boots as well, isn't it?
It's the framed shirt that I wore, the framed boots that I wore, and the armbands in with the shirt as well. They're all in frames, and I'll present them to the lucky winner at the Alan Shearer Centre if or when we can. If that's not possible, then I'll do a Zoom link with whoever wins it, and then we'll post the prizes to them. So yeah, they're over there, and the top's on up there, and the boots are to my right hand side. So they're ready and waiting for whoever wins it.
Yeah.
Well, if I win, I'm not taking the prize. I'm going to give the prize back to your family. But I would like to suggest that there's something done where they're actually shown at the Hancock Museum, and then we can put a donation box there so that the foundation can raise some more money, and then people will be able to go and view the items. But yeah, no, I would like to give them back to you. So
that's brilliant. Thank you, man. That's very kind of you. Thank you.
Just for the record, if I win, I am keeping the prize.
Why not?
Bobby Robson for me was just absolutely massive. You know, as a football personality through from England. You know, Italia '90 and stuff. And obviously, when he joined Newcastle, it was in the times of sort of Hullet, and for me, it on the outside, all days were looking like they were going to be numbered at Newcastle because of how Hullet was, basically. And then obviously the club done away with him, and then installed Bobby Robson, thankfully. So, like, I obviously only met Bobby once, and I just was in awe of him. You know, he was like a god. You know, so I just wanted to know on a personal thing. You know, what was it like when he came in? You know, and sort of and what he meant to you as a manager, and in how he sort of turned things around for you. Know what? Just to give us some insight as to what Bobby was like to work with.
Well, he was as a man manager, he was an absolute genius. I mean, he saved my Newcastle career. I was on the way out. I would have to have left if it wasn't if Ruud hadn't have gone, then it would have been me that would have gone. But he went. Bobby came in, and as you know, the vast majority of experienced players were sort of excluded. They were on the periphery. They weren't even involved in the in the first team, a lot of them. So what Bobby did is he got all the senior players back in. He got everyone smiling again, being happy on the training ground, which hadn't been the case beforehand. He used all of his man management skills, which were, as I said, he was a genius at handling. It didn't matter whether you were a 17-year-old kid on £1,000 a week or whether you were a 33-year-old on 60 or 70 grand a week. He knew how to handle it. He knew how to get the best out of you. And that was his strong point in handling the players. And as you know, his first home game, Sheffield Wednesday, we scored 8, I scored 5, and that was it. Everyone was back again, smiling, happy. I mean, he come in and took the club from the bottom. I mean, we would have been relegated. There's no doubt about it. If it wasn't for him, he come in and took us from the bottom into Champions League football and give us some of our best nights. I mean, that night in Milan, it was just ridiculous. Where, I mean, it's one of the best European nights I've ever had. I mean, that I don't know what there was, 12,000 Geordies behind that goal in the San Siro. What a night! What an atmosphere! Just, I mean, it was mind blowing, that atmosphere that night. So, yeah, he was just phenomenal as a man manager. That was his great strength, is making you feel 10 foot tall before you went out onto a football pitch, so you could go out and play to the best of your ability.
If only even Cordoba hadn't equalised. Yeah, so obviously I'm stuck in the Midlands, so I never got to see you play live, Alan, which is one of my huge regrets. But there's nothing I could have done. None of my family were into football. It was down to me to find Newcastle all by myself. I didn't know that it was 220 mile away, but I did get to see you manage Newcastle United.
Right.
This still irritates me. So I'm wondering if it's the same when you ever think, what if? Newcastle 0, Fulham 1. I was there that day. Howard Webb disallowed a perfectly good Mark Viduka goal.
He did.
It would have been 1-1. We would have stayed up. Do you ever think, what if? Because I do.
I do now and again. Yeah, I mean, we missed out by a point. Yeah, I mean, you can't look back, but I like everything, you think, should I have done something different? Could I have done something different? And I mean, I worked my nuts off like everyone else to try and keep the football club in the division it wasn't to be. Every other manager before me that season, and don't forget I was the 4th manager that season. Kevin Keegan had tried, Chris Hughton had tried, Joe Kinney had tried. They all had more games than I did, I think. So yeah, it wasn't for the want to try, and it just wasn't to be. But I do remember that incident very well that you're talking about, and I looked back at it just a few times, as you can imagine. It was never ever a foul, never. If only VAR had been back in there.
Exactly. Where was VAR? However, exactly. 10 or so years ago, exactly. God knows what would have happened. I haven't forgiven Howard Webb yet. I'm not. Well, I say I'm over. I'm over it now. I'm not. Sean, Alan touched upon his testimonial earlier on, and we've been lucky enough to have both Henry Winter and Celeste Ferdinand on Newcastle Fans TV before, and they both cite that night as one of the best nights of their lives. Henry Winter said he couldn't remember getting back to his hotel room, and Les Ferdinand was on the DJ decks, I understand, in Shearer's bar that night. Yeah. Sean, what do you remember of that night? Because it was a great occasion, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, no, the testimonial game was absolutely fantastic, and that was obviously like kind of a closing game on Alan's career, as it were. And obviously wasn't fit to play because of that horrendous tackle by the unwashed, let's call them. But basically, yeah. So, but what I always loved was the penalty decision at the end. You know, where you got to come on.
Stonewall pen.
Yeah. Yeah, Stonewall penalty without a doubt. Yeah. And then basically it was kind of. So really speaking, it was kind of finished off with 207 goals, really, in my mind. because he got an opportunity to walk out on that game. But I thought Celtic that night as well, their support and the camaraderie and the banter around Newcastle and the ground was just absolutely phenomenal. It was a great night. And you also donated all of your all of the takings, didn't you? Actually, to start up the foundation, as it were.
That's where it all started. Yeah, we raised 1.6 million that night, and that's where it all started. Yeah, so that was all given away to charity. But I mean, just I don't know how to try and put it into perspective. Is that try and put yourself in my position? I'm a Geordie. I was born and bred in Newcastle and brought up in Gosforth, and I went to watch my idol, my hero, Kevin Keegan, on his debut in '82 at the Gallagher End. I went there every week. I was a huge fan. So, I mean, I'm the luckiest lad alive to come back and to not only to come and play for Newcastle and wear the number 9 shirt and break my dad's heroes record, Jackie Milburn. I mean, Jesus, I've lived the dream, haven't I? It just doesn't get any better than that. And then to have that testimonial at the end of my 10 years is it was phenomenal. Absolutely amazing. So, yeah, I've been one hell of a lucky lad.
Final question before we let you go, Alan. I appreciate your time.
No
obviously, well publicised. You chose your hometown club over Manchester United, for which we're all eternally grateful for. What gave you more pleasure when playing? Was it scoring against Sunderland or scoring against Man United? Because I've seen the footage gets replayed over and over again, and that famous little eyeball stare out with Roy Keane. What tops it? Which one?
Do you know what it is? To me, it didn't matter whether I scored against, I don't know, Scunthorpe, Southampton, Sunderland, Man United, Inter Milan, whoever it may be. It didn't bother me. That's what I love doing, was scoring goals, and the feeling of seeing the ball hit the back of the net. It just didn't bother me at all. I just wanted to score goals. Didn't care who it was against. I mean, that feeling of seeing the ball at the back of the net on that. I mean, it was ironic, bit of fate, really. If you don't believe in fate, then perhaps you should, because for me to miss a penalty at the Gallagher End, I waited years to get another penalty against Sunderland to try and rectify that situation. And as it turned out, it was my last ever kick of a football in the Premier League, was that penalty at Sunderland. So it wasn't a bad way to go out, was it? Scoring and winning 4-1 at Sunderland. I mean, I don't think I've ever been as nervous standing over a penalty as I was over that penalty, because I practiced all week. There's no way I could have missed that penalty. I don't think I would have retired if I had missed that penalty. I would have to stay on for another season. But I was, the relief and the pressure that I was under to score that was immense. So I was delighted when it sort of hit the back of the net. So it didn't bother me who I scored against, but I have to admit that last kick of a ball was a pretty special one.
Oh, absolutely.
Alan, out of you obviously scoring 260 Premier League goals. Now, out of obviously these boots, the shirt, and the captain's armband, this is your 250th goal. Out of them 250 goals, do you have a favourite?
Favourite and best ones. I mean, I scored the first one at my home debut, which was always my dream to score at St James's Park. So that was obviously very special. The 2 goals, as I've said, in Milan were massive. I mean, I got a hat trick in the Champions League, Leverkusen. It was the goals in the semi-final. It's at Old Trafford against Spurs and Sheffield United. I mean, that Old Trafford was rocking on both of those occasions. I remember them well. But the most important one and the best feeling I had was when I broke Jackie Milburn's record. I mean, honestly, the feeling that afternoon when I saw the ball hit the back of the net, because it had been a long time. I never thought I was going to do it, and then to break the record that had stood for so long of such an iconic figure in Newcastle in Jackie Milburn, as I said, my old man's hero. So I still think my dad thinks that he was better than I was. But that feeling, the 10 or 15 minutes after that goal. I mean, talk about the hairs on the back of your neck standing up was just one of those mental moments. So probably the best feeling was that one, yeah.
After all that time, still did Andy O'Brien for pace as well. But, superb. Head on over to alanshearerfoundation.org.uk and enter as much as you can to support this fantastic cause. My thanks to Sean Wade of the Magpie Group, and of course the greatest player ever, my childhood hero, everyone's hero, just the greatest striker of all time, the Premier League's greatest. Harry Kane, you're not beating the record, so calm down. Mr Alan Shearer, thank you so much for your time, Alan. It's been an absolute pleasure. So please
thank you, guys.
You're welcome back on the channel anytime, needless to say.
Cheers.
Please like and subscribe to Newcastle Fans TV.